coming up on the Charge on Air. It's been 1 year since the tragic shooting in downtown Orlando.
Chocolate lovers, brace yourselves. Higher costs could mean less of your favorite candy.
UCF police remind students to stay alert during Pedestrian Safety Month.
In sports, UCF's women's basketball team gears up for a fresh start with new players.
The Charge on Air starts now. Happy Halloween and welcome to the Charge on Air. I'm Christie St. Bill.
And I'm Melenny Gallardo. Today is Friday, October 31st, 2025.
Crowds are gathering once again in downtown Orlando, 1 year after Halloween night turned deadly. Reporter Nicholas Hernandez is live in downtown with how the city is preparing.
Thank you, Christy. Yes, I'm here reporting live in downtown Orlando, where later tonight you can expect this to turn into a giant costume party. Now, it remains to be seen whether or not we're going to get the same crowd that we saw last year, considering the fatal shooting we saw happen on these streets. Let's take a look at how that might affect this year's celebrations.
It was a frightful Halloween night in downtown Orlando last year, but not for the right reasons.
The crowd of costumes fled in panic after 17-year-old Jalen Edgar opened fire at the public on Central Boulevard and Orange Avenue just past 1 a.m.
The Orlando Police Department reported a total of 2 dead and 8 others injured that scary night. The UCF community sadly had to mourn the loss of 19-year-old freshman Timothy Schmidt Jr., and at least one other student was injured. Darnell Anderson is an assistant manager at the Tin and Taco down the street of where it all went down. He remembers having just closed up shop when the shooting started. Tonight, he's expecting to see increased safety measures.
As security, yeah, it's probably going to be way more thicker, I feel like, this year. After that whole ordeal and after, like, the shutdown and everything like that, they've kind of gotten a lot more looser now, but they're still, like, we're watching.
Witnesses say businesses like the one behind me were flooded by the panicking crowd after the shooter opened fire here last year on Halloween. Now, many students are planning on staying away from downtown this year as a result, but business owners in the Orange Avenue area say they're still expecting the same hectic crowd as always. OPD estimates a total of 75,000 people were in downtown last year, with Halloween being one of its busiest nights on the calendar for police and local businesses. But UCF students might not play a huge role in that crowd tonight. Sophomore biomedical sciences major Kaylee Lee followed her friends out for a night of fun in downtown last Halloween. Having witnessed the chaos from a year ago, she thinks the college crowd will be absent from the scene tonight.
I do think it's going to be less than normal just because everything that happened last year. I already have been talking to people. They don't want to go downtown either just for their safety, that there's plenty of other options that they can do.
Lee recommends anyone going downtown to share their location with their loved ones and to stay with a group at all times. OPD urges the community to contact 911 or to find an officer if they see anything suspicious. In Orlando, Nicholas Hernandez, The Charge on Air.
We'll have to wait until tonight to see what kind of turnout we get here on Halloween, but it does seem like we'll have less UCF students in attendance. Circling back to the tragic loss of Timothy Schmidt Jr., his parents actually recently filed a lawsuit against the city of Orlando for lack of proper security on that unfortunate night. For more updates on that and the UCF community, stay tuned with The Charge on Air. But for now, reporting live in downtown Orlando, Nicholas Hernandez.
Thanks, Nicholas. If you are planning on going out downtown for this Halloween, be sure to stay safe.
Your candy bags might look a little different this year. Charge on Air reporter Camila Escobar explains why chocolate treats are getting more expensive and why gummies and fruity candies are taking their place.
My favorite Halloween candy is Reese's.
Kit Kat, Almond Joy.
Some of these fan favorites might be harder to grab this year. Hershey representative says that last year their top sellers included an assortment of Reese's, Kit Kats, and Almond Joys. Global cocoa prices have quadrupled since 2023 after poor harvests in West Africa, making chocolate candy nearly $8 a pound, compared to about $5.77 for fruity treats. Associate marketing professor Dr. Axel Stock says popular chocolate brands are feeling the impact of the cocoa shortage and are turning to promotions to keep customers from noticing price hikes.
When we look at promotions, they actually may increase. So when consumers see many promotions, they become less aware of the increase in the average price.
With cocoa prices rising, your favorite chocolate candies like these might be giving your wallets a fright this Halloween. But don't worry, because fruity treats like these are still a sweet deal for those who want to fill their candy bags without breaking the bank.
As chocolate prices climb, many students are reaching for sweeter and cheaper alternatives. From gummies to lollipops, non-chocolate treats are filling up more Halloween bowls this year. UCF finance major Abe Rosenblum says that for most students, it comes down to finding a balance between what they love and what they can afford.
Now, with Halloween candy, it is not something that's such a big stake in your life that you're going to spend so much on something. So I think up to a certain threshold, it's preference, and then it gets extreme where price starts to matter more than preference.
Rosenblum also adds he's cutting back by swapping out chocolate for cheaper options like gummies and hard candies. And as cocoa costs continue to rise, many students may find themselves doing the same this Halloween. In Orlando, Camila Escobar, The Charge on Air.
Experts say cocoa prices may take months to come back down, but for now, chocolate lovers might just have to pay a little extra to satisfy their sweet tooth.
In honor of October being Pedestrian Safety Month, UCF PD held a police detail at a few UCF crosswalks. Charge on Air reporter Skylar Williamson tells us more on the importance of pedestrian safety.
Wait.
On Thursday, October 30th, the UCF Police Department patrolled crosswalks in hopes of enforcing pedestrian safety on campus. For Pedestrian Safety Month, officers sent decoys across crosswalks to see whether or not student drivers would stop for them. Sergeant Ricky Lopez of the UCF PD says drivers have to yield to pedestrians because it's the law, but the pedestrians also have to follow proper protocols.
We all share the roads on campus. That includes vehicles, pedestrians, bicyclists, people running, jogging around, just people walking around campus. So our commitment is to the safety. We care about students, staff, faculty, and all the visitors. That's why we want people to really obey the rules of the road.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the NHTSA, says over 68,000 injuries occurred in accidents involving vehicles in 2023 nationwide.
Crosswalks without a red light can be easy to miss, but if you're driving on campus and you see one of these flashing lights, you may want to stop for pedestrians. UCF PD says that violators could be issued a written warning or even given a citation.
Lexi Abrams, a senior preclinical health sciences major, says she uses UCF crosswalks daily and that she looks both ways 5 to 10 times before she crosses the street.
It worries me because the drivers are not 100% safe all of the time. Everyone here likes to speed and not pay attention to their surroundings, and there are a lot of people on campus walking, trying to get from class to class, and it's unsafe.
Abrams says it is drivers' responsibility to be aware of their vehicle, their surroundings, and to not harm pedestrians. The NHTSA says pedestrian fatalities have continued to increase over the past decade and provides safety tips for pedestrians and drivers. In Orlando, Skylar Williamson, The Charge on Air.
For more information on how you can navigate pedestrian safety, check out the UCFPD website. With Halloween night here, the big question is, will those costumes need a jacket or just a hot pumpkin spice latte to keep warm?
Well, either way, Christy, I'm still dressing up as Karen Smith. I'm a bunny, duh.
I love Mean Girls, but let's see if that costume weather holds up. Ashley, what's it looking like out there tonight?
Well, ladies, don't worry, the weather is looking pretty perfect tonight, but it will be a little chilly. So let's take a look at our current conditions. Currently, we're sitting at a nice 67 degrees. Humidity is at 52 degrees with winds blowing at 7 miles per hour northwest and our gusts at 11 miles per hour. And the chance of rain is 0. So you definitely won't be needing those umbrellas, but definitely for sure bring a jacket or a hoodie. And back to you ladies at the desk.
Thanks for the update, Ashley. Coming up next, the government shutdown is hitting hard and is impacting more than just federal workers.
Plus, Kim Davis is asking the Supreme Court to review her case, and the Supreme Court is also being asked to reconsider same-sex marriage nationwide.
Today, issues like pollution, climate change, sea level rise, they threaten the beautiful nature here in our backyard. But here at UCF, you personally can receive funding to make a change. Students of all backgrounds are encouraged to apply for the Gulf Scholars Program. Funded by a grant from the National Academies of Sciences, this program prepares future leaders to solve some of the toughest issues our environment will face, all through team-based research and education right here at UCF. Participating students can receive mentorship from faculty in multiple fields, paid travel, and the chance to make up to $5,000 per year for each year in the program. Plus, Gulf scholars get the chance to go on unique adventures around Florida's Gulf Coast, showing them exactly why it should be protected up close. Undergraduate students in any major can apply at gulfscholars.research.ucf.edu.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.
Dad! Okay, here we go, throw it! Yeah.
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Nice.
As the government shutdown continues, thousands of federal employees are losing their jobs, including people working in special education. The Charge on Air reporter Allyson Castillo tells us how these cuts could impact students and educators here in Central Florida.
And yet we're at the bottom of the list. Out of 40, we're ranked about number 40. And I'm going to close the Department of Education and move education back to the states. And we're going to do it fast.
And close he did. The U.S. Department of Education announced a layoff affecting more than 460 employees. Many of the cuts hit offices that support students with disabilities, including the rehabilitation services and civil rights. The federal government once covered nearly 80% of these programs, but now states are paying a much larger share of the cost. Dr. Rebecca Hines, UCF professor, said the cut could encourage states to reevaluate how resources are used.
Opportunity to reset a system that has just added on and added on and added on costs rather than stopping and asking ourselves, can we do this more efficiently so that more kids have the services that they need and deserve?
These impacts reaches beyond current teachers. Students are now left wondering what their careers could look like in the future. Allyson, a psychology major who hopes to work in special education, words on how these cuts could impact her future career.
Really concerned about, how will the job market look once I'm finished with all of my schooling? Will there be a market for me to go to? Will I be able to help people like I've wanted to? Or
both educators and students say that they just want to see the right resources stay in place for children who depend on them. In Orlando, Allyson Castillo, The Charge on Air.
For now, future educators are watching closely to see how these layoffs and cuts will shape the classrooms they hope to work in.
After federal funding was cut from programs such as SNAP and with the federal shutdown still in effect, more than 500,000 Central Floridians could stop receiving benefits starting November 1st. Reporter Laura Pineda shows us how these changes could affect UCF students.
At UCF, students in need can visit the next pantry for food, hygiene products, and clothing. But with SNAP benefits at risk, there is a concern the pantry may see an increase in demand. Night's pantry manager Mia Robinson says it is still too early to know how federal cuts will trickle down to campus.
So at the Knights Pantry, we cannot predict what effects it may have on UCF. However, we do have the resources in place to be able to provide for as many students as possible. Because of our private donors, we are able to supplement some of the items and support from Second Harvest with those.
The Knights Pantry receives donations from Aldi, Publix, Second Harvest, UCF alumni, student organizations, and more. But Second Harvest is also struggling with funding reductions. Chief Development Officer Greg Higgerson says cutting SNAP benefits will push more people to rely on food banks.
We know that the Knights Pantry at UCF is doing such a great job, but you know, if the need gets so big that they can't meet it, that's going to be problematic.
I am here at Knights Pantry, where between 400 students to 500 students come here to get supplies daily.
Even with federal uncertainty, private donations will keep Knights Pantry running. In Orlando, Laura Pineda, The Charge on Air.
The Knights Pantry is free to all UCF students with a valid student ID. It's open Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
The Supreme Court could soon revisit one of its most controversial rulings from the past decade. Charge on Air reporter Casey Stone tells us more.
On November 7th, the Supreme Court will decide whether to take up a case challenging same-sex marriage. It was filed by Kim Davis, the former Kentucky clerk who refused to issue a marriage license to a gay couple in 2015, just weeks after Obergefell v. Hodges legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. The couple sued and won damages in 2023. Davis appealed, saying issuing the license would have violated her religious beliefs and First Amendment rights. The Sixth Circuit Court rejected that argument, ruling she acted as a government official, not a private citizen. Now, Davis is asking the Supreme Court to review that decision and reconsider Obergefell, which she says forced her to choose between her faith and her job. Toby Audit, a UCF student attending an event at Pride Commons, says if same-sex marriage gets overturned, it's not going to stop there.
It's just going to get worse, and a lot of people ignore kind of things like this because it doesn't pertain to them, but eventually it will. It'll just keep trickling down until it does end up affecting everybody.
At its core, this case asks how far freedom should go, whether it's the right to marry or the right to refuse.
Benjamin Black, a devout Christian handing out Bibles outside of the student union, says he believes distributing same-sex marriage licenses isn't good for anybody.
The people that are seeking those licenses think it's bad for their mental health to be encouraged in that direction. Marriage is an institution that is defined by God, and same-sex marriage is not within that.
For now, the nation waits to see if the Supreme Court will reopen a debate many thought was settled. In Orlando, Casey Stone, The Charge on Air.
You can expect the Supreme Court's decision to be announced in the days or weeks following November 7th.
Last week, interim NASA Administrator Sean Duffy reset NASA's moon program. Duffy announced that he will reopen NASA's Human Landing System contract due to SpaceX lunar landing being behind schedule. This delay puts at risk NASA landing astronauts on the moon by 2029 and would give China the edge in beating the U.S. in the moon race. Having worked for NASA for 30 years, UCF research professor Dr. Philip Metzger explains that underfunding was a factor in the lander reset.
The Senate mandated NASA build this gigantic, expensive rocket, which ate up most of the budget. And as a result, when they awarded the contract to SpaceX to build the lunar lander, they only got like $2 billion for the entire project, whereas the Space Launch System took about $20 billion and took 20 years.
While the demand in space is at a high, Metzger emphasizes that it's UCF's responsibility to prepare students for the workforce.
Heading out for Halloween tonight? Find out if the weather will give you chills.
Plus, the UCF's women's soccer team is heading to the Big 12 playoffs.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner!
Go. Excellent. Soccer is fun. Yeah, I saw you guys out there. We're the family. Yeah! Oh, I thought you were on my team.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. One in 3 adults has prediabetes, and you could be one of them. There are usually no signs for prediabetes, so it's important to understand your risk. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed, and you can change the outcome. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back, everyone.
It's time to check in with student meteorologist Matt Bitts from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University for a look at the national forecast.
Well, a rainy pattern going to continue for the Pacific Northwest over the next several days as an offshore dip in the jet stream is going to be steering several areas of low pressure onto land across Washington, Oregon, and Northern California. While this doesn't look like it will be an impactful event for these regions, widespread totals of rain could end up in the 3 to 7 inch range, and we could even see snowfall in some of the higher elevations across the Cascades. And our friends in the southeast will not be missing out on that fun either. Upper level low centered across the Tennessee River Valley will be steering some increased rain and storm chances for the deep south and into the Appalachians. And our other big story across the nation this weekend are the temperatures. A big area of high pressure across the desert southwest, increasing temperatures across the Intermountain West and the northern plains, and that low across the Tennessee River Valley will be steering some below normal temperatures across the southeast, including us here in the Sunshine State for what your Halloween forecast looks like. We'll head back to UCF.
Thanks, Matt. Now let's take a look at how this spooky weather is shaping us as we move through the rest of the fall. I really would not like to freeze when I go to the pumpkin patch.
Same. I can't wait to eat apple cider donuts at the Southern Hills Farm, but it's feeling pretty chilly out here. Ashley, can we expect these cooler temperatures to stick around through the rest of the week?
Well, ladies, perhaps you might want to start bringing out those sweaters and jackets because it is going to start to get a little chillier as we head into the fall season. For now, let's take a look at our temperatures across the state. Right now in the north in Gainesville, we have 66, going a little lower in Palm Coast, 64, in Leesburg, 66, and downtown and here in Orlando, we're at 65, Winter Haven and Tampa at our highest at 68 and 70, and in the south in Melbourne, we're at 66. So the temperatures are looking pretty cold, so definitely bring those jackets for sure. And now let's look at our 5-day forecast for the week. So overall, we're looking pretty good at our highs in the 70s and our lows in the 50s. So for sure, keep those jackets and sweaters handy. But overall, the week is looking like pretty nice weather. So back to you ladies at the desk.
That's all we have for weather for today. So stay tuned to hear about UCF women's soccer 2-1 victory over BYU.
Yes, plus we will definitely, 11 new players joined UCF's women's basketball team.
These walls and windows hold me tight. The warm embrace we all call home. My neighbors watch over one another. This little street is a land of liberty of its own, where I always have a place to go. I'm free to call this place my own. We all deserve a place to call home.
That's an American dream.
how crazy it is at UCF right now.
Happy Halloween nights. My name is John Perez, and I'm here to bring you all of the latest UCF sports updates. Now for sports. Women's basketball is gearing up for another season in the Big 12. Reporter Cecily Webb has more on these fresh faces and the mindset they're bringing into this season.
It's a brand new look for UCF women's basketball. With 11 new players joining the roster, the Knights are reloaded and ready for a fresh start. Every year, head coach Satia Messer creates a motto the team plays by, and she says what it is this season.
The work wins is our motto, right? So every single day we got to bring the work, and we're going to stack days in practice. And I promise you, throughout the season, when it counts, that will win. That will win. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And that's our motto, the work wins.
The Knights return leadership from Kayala Nagodu, who was a force on both ends of the floor, averaging about 10 points and 7 rebounds per game last season. Several new faces also bring experience and depth to the lineup, one being Leah Harmon, a Miami transfer who's going to play a prominent role on the floor for the Knights.
Here at Addition Financial Arena, Coach Messer says this is one of her most competitive teams yet, with just a few key returning players who are ready to take on that leadership role, as well as numerous transfer players. This team is ready for year 3 in the Big 12.
Nagodu and Harmon talk about how the team has been gelling together in the preseason.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I mean, on and off the court, just building chemistry with each other, talking to each other, learning each other. I mean, I love all my teammates, and I think we're doing a great job. You know, it's a journey, and it's been fun so far.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like there aren't any selfish players on our team. Not at all. Everybody wants the best for everybody, and everybody has the same goal, and that's to win. And as long as we keep working and keep that goal in mind, and we'll find it.
With a whole new team and a new work wins mindset, UCF looks ready to take on a new season. In Orlando, I'm Cecily Webb, The Charge on Air.
Tip-off against Bethune-Cookman is set for Monday night at the Addition Financial Arena. That's all the time we have today for sports. Stay tuned for more updates on UCF sports in the following newscasts. Now back to you, Christie and Melenny.
That's our time for right now. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week on thechargenews.com.
We'll leave you with a live shot of Winter Garden. Thanks for
watching. Happy Halloween nights.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Golf at Night. Now, on this episode, we're going to talk about Venice's local legend, Captain Stewart. And he may or may not resemble a specific kind of guy who's from the Caribbean, but he sometimes does dress up as a pirate. So, what Stewart does is he takes his metal detection gear and he goes inside of the ocean to look for missing loot that people lose while they're in the water. He has stated that if he comes across anything that can be harmful to the environment, he immediately picks it up and throws it into the trash where it belongs.
So Stuart, just tell us a little bit about why you started doing this. Like, why do you like to do this all the time?
Oh, when I started doing it, it was just a hobby I wanted to get into, start finding gold, silver, you know, some cool treasures. But it soon became a pretty lucrative business, so to say. I mean, after I started doing it, people would run up to me and say, "Hey, I lost my ring, can you help find it?" And that kind of just started from there. And then I found the ringfinders.com on the internet, and they became part of that. So when somebody loses something, they call me and I go and try to help them find it.
Awesome.
So that's been mostly what it has turned out to be, more than just my hobby. I end up finding more stuff for people and returning their jewelry. Sometimes I get lucky and I get to find stuff on my own. But that's what mostly it's all about, is happy endings and finding people's lost stuff. That's what I get the most pleasure out of doing, helping people. So
So, Stuart, you've been doing this for quite a while, and obviously you're very familiar with the ocean. What does being so close to the ocean mean to you?
I've been here my whole life, and throughout my life, a couple times I've moved away from the ocean to Indianapolis, to be exact, and there is no ocean there and no water. So to be away from it for any length of time was like a piece of me was lost. And then when I came back home, that's what it was that I've realized was lost, is being close to the ocean. Ain't nothing like being out here, especially with the metal detector at night and nobody out here, and it's not so hot, and you're all by yourself, and it's just you, the ocean, and the sharks and the manatees I see quite often out there.
What type of wildlife do you see out there in the ocean at night?
A lot of sharks, especially when I put my headlamp on. If I got my headlamp on, it's cool and it's not, because you got your headlamp on and you can't see anything outside of your light, so it's kind of sketchy, and you're drawing all kinds of fish to you with your light on, but without the light you can't see what's in your scoop, and you can't see anything around you. So I've had a couple brushes with a couple small little sharks that have brushed up against me, and of course the big huge manatees I've had come right behind me that scare you a lot too. That's kind of sketchy when you see a shadow like that. But I've seen all kinds of stuff. A lot of seahorses get caught up in the seaweed, and that's pretty cool seeing all them around. But you know, at nighttime it's completely different world out there.
What would you say to someone who's maybe trying to help keep the Gulf Coast clean?
Please pick up your trash after yourself. I mean, if you're coming here, especially if you're coming here to visit Florida, and you wouldn't imagine the trash people leave behind. They just bury their cans in the sand, or you know, just take away what you bring. So it really helps. And all of us metal detectors, all of us pick up every single piece of trash that we come across, which is, like I said, 95% trash and 5% treasure. So I mean, if you're picking it up and you got it in your scoop, you might as well pick it up anyway. And our pockets are always full of beer cans and beer tabs and pool tabs, and I mean, what's the sense? I mean, keep our beaches clean. So I find all kinds of stuff. A lot of old coins. Like I said, Venice is known for, the only history we have in Venice is the old military base used to be right here in Venice, and the planes used to shoot 50 cal shells for practice all up and down from Siesta Key to Minnesota Beach, and out in the water, even 100 years later, you still find the bullets, the 50 cal bullets and the shells, but you find all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, there's just you find lots of, like I said, mostly pull tabs, lots of old crusty quarters, lots of little matchbox cars from kids. I got a bunch of those, and then, you know, sometimes you get lucky and you find a ring like I did tonight out in the water. It's probably just a tungsten wedding band, but I find a lot of those once I get home. It might be silver, it could be, it's most likely tungsten, but I've probably got 300 or 400 of these at home. I've tried to find the owners. A lot of them have inscriptions on it, like this lady here said it's mostly a wedding band, a men's wedding band. That's what I find mostly, but yeah, mostly it's trash.
These instruments that you have with us, would you mind telling us a little bit how you use these instruments to find the things you just showed us?
Yeah, this machine right here is a MineLab Excalibur 2, and it's by far the best machine to use in the water. Underwater, it goes all the way down to 200 feet. I've had this one since I first started and have had no problems with it. So I own 3 of them now just for backups, and I also have other machines too, different things for different applications. This one's here is best for the water. And other machines I use is like a MineLab Equinox 800 or 900. That's good for the beach and the wet sand and dry sand. Some detect a little deeper than others. Some pick up things others don't pick up. I find backs to earrings. I find little tiny split shots. This thing here picks up the most minute piece of metal. So I've had lots of success with this machine. And of course you need a scoop. You got to have one of these if you're in the water or on the beach. This one here is specifically called a stealth scoop, and it's about almost 500 bucks, but to have it, it's guaranteed for a lifetime. So, you know, it's not a very cheap hobby, but it pays for itself.
Sure it does.
The first machine I bought was one that they promised me that would work great in the ocean, and it was $800. I thought that was expensive, right? So when I got down here the first day, it didn't work at all. And a metal detector guy was walking by with one of these, and he saw me struggling with that machine, the Garrett machine, and he said, "This is the one I need." And I was like, "Man, how much is that?" And he said, $2,000. I'm like, "Man, I just spent $800 on this." And he's like, "Yeah, they took you for, you know, they just wanted your money." So I went home that night and bought one of these, and I went right down to Fort Myers Beach the very next day, and I found a gold chain that was worth about $5,000. So if you know anything about Fort Myers Beach, it's a party town. And there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people out in the water partying. And, you know, you can see me in this get-up and looking like a frog with my headphones, and everybody's pointing and laughing, and I'm bobbing and weaving in and out of different parties of people. And I ran into a few people as they were laughing at me. And I'm like, "Ooh, that's a nice signal. I don't know what it is. Let's see what that is." And when I went to pull it up, this big, huge gold chain was draped over my scoop, and everybody was looking at me. I'm like, "Yeah, you all laughing now? Who's laughing now?" So yeah, that was the most awesome thing I found. I have a few bucket listers. I'm still looking for that Rolex watch and a silver dollar. I want to find a silver dollar. I haven't found that yet. But when you first start out in the hobby, there's nothing like two different entities. One is being out here in the sand and in the ocean, but also it's inland, you know, parks, churches, playgrounds, digging in the dirt. That's a whole different experience, and it's a lot of fun because, you know, you never know what you find, and it's just a totally different vibe. If you can go all day long and not find nothing but trash, but as soon as you find a stupid quarter, it's like the best thing ever. It's the best feeling ever. I found a quarter. It's only a quarter, but still, that's the feeling that you get by just being out there, and it makes you strive to want to find more. So,
how about changes in the environment?
It's been a little tough the last few years from all our storms, but it has helped clean it up a little bit, the last couple of floods and all the re-nourishment that they've been doing. So it hasn't been too bad, but, you know, there's still a lot more to be done.
Do the storms stir up stuff? Like you find more stuff after her?
Sometimes it either sucks all the sand out and you can find stuff.
Do sea turtles nest out here?
Yes.
Have you seen?
I've seen lots of them, yeah. Yeah, so you want to keep your headlamp off. I keep it off as much as possible. And normally I have a red lamp, so at nighttime the guys come down here with the four-wheelers to test and watch and see where they're at and kind of mark them. And if you do have your headlamp on, they will ask you to turn it off. So you're not supposed to have lights on because it distracts the turtles. But yeah.
That note.
Well, I mean, that's cool, but it's pretty amazing to see them come ashore. I've witnessed it quite a few times. Yep. One actually scared me as I was out in the water, and I had my light off, and it swam right next to me, and it came ashore and walked up to do its thing. So that was pretty cool, pretty amazing.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this segment of the Golf at Night. And if you open up the description box, you will see a link to Stuart's Facebook page where you can hire him to help you find your missing treasure. And yeah. Later.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.